You see that?
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Still coming. There we go.
Now it is. Ooh, I like the flats.
I did a class with handicapped and blind. And one of the hardest parts they have is finding the bevel on a low angle scraper. So I took the tool out of the woman's hand and I sanded the back off of it. And I liked it so well, I've done it to all of mine. You can pick this up behind your back and it registers in your hand. Did you ever go down into deep hollowing situation and have the tool upside down?
Oh yeah, or just have it on a positive, and
See,
the positive is not is the negative.
you got it. Doesn't work very well. Anyway, this works so well. I've done it to all of my scrapers and I just love it.
Beautiful idea.
Okay, next. You know the nub on the end of your, I do a lot of these. In fact, I've got a whole shop full of equipment you've never seen. Uh, you know the little nub on the end of your turning that you end up chiseling off or whatever?
Yeah.
If you use that little oscillating saw, it takes it off just beautiful. You don't even have to look at it. I mean, it planes it right off.
Nice idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I do that. I actually have something similar, only I use my Dremel. I have one of those reciprocating hand pieces,
Yeah, yeah.
and it works the same way. And you get a good clean surface, almost no sanding if you do it right.
Oh, I take this off with this thing, and then I have a 3-inch or a 2-inch sanding disc in my drill press. I just touch it up on that, and in minutes I'm done.
I have one of those tools that was expensive. I think I paid $29 at Big Lots.
I had this thing for 5 years before I finally picked it up. I thought, why don't I use this thing? And damn, I've used it for all kind of stuff. Okay, here's another one. Oh, you'll like this one. I never open a can of finish. I never open a can of thinner. See that little metal screw in there?
Yeah.
When I get a brand new can of finish, I punch a hole in it and put a metal screw in it because I never use enough to want to open the can. All I do is turn it over, loosen the screw up, put some on a rag and use it. This can of tung oil is from 1999. It has about this much tung oil on the bottom and it's still good. Okay.
Wow.
It's almost cheating.
It
Yeah.
is. That's a pretty cool idea.
But
Yeah, I like that idea.
here's even my concoction. This is polyurethane and thinner. This is, Lord only knows what this is. I have no idea. But anyway, I think this is the only can I opened. I need a lot of this. I opened that can. All the rest of these have never been opened.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Good idea. Never get oxygen in there.
You got it.
Yeah.
And it's a good use for those round head metal screws. You know, you can't use those anymore. Nobody knows what the hell to do with them. Anyway.
especially the slot head.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got 8,000 of them left, I think. This is my little, this was a Delta lathe. I've redone it. But anyway, I put wooden handles on it because I don't like the steel handles. In the back here is a clamp, and I made a hand wheel out of, I don't know, walnut or something, but it's got a track in it. And when I want to lock the hand wheel, all I do is flip this lever up and it locks that in any position I want. There it's locked.
That's nifty.
Yeah, I like that too.
When you want to drill a hole in something or you want to stand on something or whatever, you don't have to mess around. It's no indexing, but it's all black on here because every now and then I forget to take the brake off. And you know how that goes. You've been there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've used that thing. Unbelievable. This is a wedgie sled. I don't know, does anybody use wedgie sleds?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Most wedgie sleds, they cut this side right off, this other side here. And when you cut your piece off, it falls off and it tears the corner off the miter. So I made this and I kept the other side. So when I cut this piece, here's the gauge. when this piece cuts off, all I do is put a long pencil with the eraser side down. When I push this through the blade, I just hold that straight down and it doesn't fall off of anything. It just stays right on that side of the board. I love this thing. I started using this. In fact, I set it with wedgie, the Wixie gauge. This is a 90-degree line from the saw cut, and I transferred that down. This is a 90-degree line. I clamped the whole sled in a vise. This is a mechanic's vise. I clamped the whole thing standing up on end, and there's screws in here so my gauge sticks to the surface of this. Anyway, I set this one at 0, and then I set this bottom one to half of what I want. I'm setting this to 15 degrees here. Then from here, I re-zero it. So you're not compounding your problem, you're re-zero it, and then set the top one to 30 degrees. And I love this thing now. I never used to, I still don't do segmenting, but I do like a top ring for a bowl or something. I want a 12 segment or a 6, this would be a 6 segment bowl or a piece. But it cuts, when your piece is laying out here on this board with a pencil pushing down on it, you push it through the saw and it's absolutely perfect.
Great idea.
And these are hold downs, so I don't have to get my fingers near the thing. You can see I have hold downs,
Yeah, that's a great idea too.
but that thing really works. I just love it. Okay, what's next? Oh, long ago when I started wood turning, I decided I was going to buy one kind of chuck and I'm not having anything else. All my chuck keys turn the same way. All my jaws fit the other jaws, the chucks. One of the problems is when I pick up this red chuck here, I don't know the OD and the ID of what it grabs. So I made templates. This is the smallest tenon that chuck will grab. This is the largest tenon that chuck will grab. This is the smallest socket that chuck will fit in. This is the largest chuck or socket that'll fit in. I have yellow ones, white ones, blue ones, black ones. But I took the chucks apart. I put masking tape around the jaw itself, just spray the back and then spray the template. This is the little jaw. See, that's the smallest template or tenon that'll grab. That's the biggest one. There's the smallest socket.
Good idea. I like that.
Here's a drawing of it. This is the minimum ID, minimum or maximum ID, and a minimum OD and minimum ID or ID OD. Anyway, I love it. I've got a lot of chucks, and you spend more time opening and closing them than you do using them sometimes. This just works. Oh, and it also has a hole drilled in it. They're all on a string, so I got a whole ring of them. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, what material were those made out of?
What?
What material did you make your templates out of?
Oh, these are just 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch masonite.
Okay.
Yeah. When I use a spur drive, I like to set it with usually use a block of wood, a mash hammer of some kind. And that does all right, but I made a handle, out of 3/4 T with a 3/4 inch pipe nipple. This fits right over and it rests on that shoulder.
Oh,
So you can use that mash hammer and beat that thing right in the wood. You can drive it right through without doing any damage.
What an idea.
You take a,
May I add something in there that he did? He drilled through the bark on.
oh yeah, yeah. definitely. Yeah, usually when I cut this blank out, if I'm using a chainsaw, I scarf that off, but this has been chiseled out. Anyway, I take a 3/4 T and I screw the nipple into it. Then I saw the nipple off. And then I file that end, and that's the striking surface. And then the other end, oh, here I made a handle. And the threaded end, I just taper this a little bit and I strip it into there. It works great. Just taper a little bit and run it right into the pipe threads. Here's how I do it in the vise. But this is the striking end. And I take the other end of the nipple. This end's been cut off. And that's good for going against the spur drive. This end I thread into here nice and tight. Then I tighten that on the handle. And you end up with this spur driver. You can drive, especially big ones. It's really nice on big ones.
What do you put inside the pipe?
Nothing. You put this right over the spur drive, right down to here,
Oh, I see.
and beat on it. And that way you're not putting any pressure or anything on the Morse taper.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah,
Cheap too.
yeah, you're not going to deform your taper at all.
No. No, I use it all the time. I love it. Oh, this is my lathe. I have a 3520 A, the A model. And my wife accuses me of cannibalizing things. And this has been redone. Here again, all the handles are wood. I don't have any metal handles. These are all wood. On the end here's a turbine. I'll show that later. That's an air turbine. Over here on the wall is my air hose. So when I want to run this in, I take the air hose and I hit it on the top here and it runs that in about 400 RPM. And if I want to run it out, I hit the bottom and it runs it out at 400 RPM.
That's a good idea.
I took the door off and put a plexiglass door on there so I don't have to open the door to see what speed I'm on. I'm always changing speeds, so I can just look at it. That dizzy cage they give you, I cut all the bars off of it, cleaned the bar up, and that's a hanger for my dust collector. I've got a wing nut on here that I can position this and put it anywhere I want. On all of these things, this is the on-off switch. And if something starts flying, you got to reach around here to shut it off. Underneath here's three plugs. This is a remote on-off switch with a magnet made out of a handy box. And I bought these switches from a surplus place for $10 a piece. I'm about out of them now, but anyway, that's an on-off switch. There's two other plugs here. One is the same thing as this, only instead of being on-off, it's a momentary switch. So when you're drilling, you put that against your tailstock here, and you hold on to your drill chuck and your hand wheel here, and you lean against that, and it comes on. And when things start smoking and burning, you just back up and it goes off. There's also another prong here, plug here, somewhere hanging on the wall is a foot switch. You can plug that in and put a foot switch on it. You can't use the momentary or the foot switch just for regular use. You use that when you want it and unplug it when you don't want it, because you can get in trouble if you bump that thing or step on the switch or something. But when you want it, you plug it in, use it, and then unplug it. My wife wanted to use it. Oh, on the bottom here is a piece of granite. Sometimes they make granite the wrong size or something. I got a piece of granite and threw it on here. It makes an excellent weight and shelf. I'll show the headstock or the tailstock here. My wife wanted to use this, and I get tired of lifting this dizzy tailstock. So underneath the tailstock is a round washer. I cut the sides off of it and made an indexing. This is an indexing handle here. So to get rid of my tailstock, also you can buy these $300 hinges that just hinge it around the side. But anyway, you release this lever, pull this lever, tighten this lever, and then up here is a hook on the wall. You hook that in this eye bolt, and you press that button, and this tailstock goes straight up in the air.
That's a cool idea.
Okay, you don't have to slide it off the end of the lathe. It just lifts straight up.
Goes straight up. Here's the washer underneath the lathe. I cut the sides off of it. This is a rod with a spring and a handle out here. Oh, this spring. I looked all over for this spring. You'll never guess where the spring comes from. That's the roll, you know, the toilet paper roll. Your toilet paper holder. Yeah. I was in Habitat. I said, damn, that's exactly what I need. I bought a toilet paper holder and took the spring out of the axle. It works perfect. Anyway, that's in the use position right there. It would be in the lathe. When you pull the handle and lock this lever, it locks that thing in a 90-degree position. So from here, it can go straight up. You hook the hook in there, and it goes straight up in the air like that. And then it hangs there. So also over my lathe, this is a 2-foot diameter exhaust fan, goes out the wall. That's a guillotine to shut it off for like in the wintertime. Oh, there's the foot switch hanging there. That's a foot switch. But for $100, you can buy a lift from Harbor Freight. I think it's good for 500 pounds or something. This weighs about 80. So I just leave it up. It hangs up there for weeks sometimes. You had enough?
No, keep going.
I always wanted a 20-inch sander. All my life, I wanted a 20-inch sander. And finally, I thought, doggone, I got a 20-inch lathe, so I made one. And this is a piece of MDF, I think, with a 6-inch faceplate. I'll show the back of this thing. Oh, I went the wrong way. This is I bought the sanding disc from Klingspor. It's a 20-inch sanding disc, 80 grit. This is the back of it. If you ever make one of these, make sure you set those damn set screws. I used this about 3 or 4 times, and one day I shut the lathe off, and that thing weighs about 25, 30 pounds. And that came off of there, and if you ever seen the Tasmanian Devil, that thing ran all over the shop, was jumping high as the bench, and you just get out of the way. Anyway, I use the set screws now. But the neat part of this is you can slow that thing down to 50 RPM if you want. You could do your fingernails on it. You've got to have a dust collector, and it's got to have like a little chute here to direct the stuff. But anyway, that's my dust collector hanging in a little different position. And I made a shelf for it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It about 1,500 RPM. It just eats wood.
I like that holder that you have for your dust collector, the bar that goes into your lathe. I like that. I have a terrible time adjusting my little dust collector on a stand, And I like that. That's a neat idea.
And
I
if you
like
don't
that.
like it, you pull the little pin on the side, pull it out and let it hang behind there someplace.
Uh-huh.
It's I can't imagine what they use that stupid cage for, but anyway.
That's a safety cage. That's a safety
Let-
cage, Jim. Be careful.
Let me tell you what you use that cage for and how
Right.
it saved my butt a
Really?
couple of times.
I never,
Yeah,
No.
I used it for roughing, roughing large uneven pieces.
Yeah.
If I put a a 20-inch log on the lathe and started turning a vase, I've made some very big pieces.
Okay.
And you're starting off between centers, and if your wood is a little bit punky and your centers can come out, or you have a catch or something, that cage is a lifesaver.
Not me. Well, mine isn't anymore.
Right. Well, mine is not on my lathe either, but
Okay.
anymore. But trust me, it has saved my bacon quite a bit.
I've had my 3520 for 15 years, and that cage is still wrapped in the original cardboard that it came in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Rules here. We can't talk about bypassing safety. Okay.
Oh yeah, you got it. I don't even know what the next one is. Oh, I turn Morse tapers, wooden Morse tapers, and I've got jigs to do this. And this is a pen press. I know you love to spend $50 for a pen press, but you put one of these in the headstock and one of these in the tailstock, and it makes a gorgeous pen press.
You know, I was given an actual pin press.
Mhm.
I did it for probably a year and a half, and I still do it that way because it presses so much straighter and easier than a pin press.
Yep.
Yep, I made mine out of Corian.
Well, I put Corian ends on this now. I don't know if they show a picture of that or not. I don't know what's in here next, but I put Corian ends on here, 1/2 inch Corian on both of them. And that's it. I've done enough tonight. I have equipment you've never seen. I have all kinds of stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
love it.
You haven't done too much, Jim. You did what we're looking for, bud. Share nod.
Enjoying this.
Great stuff, Jim. Right, and I like those tips.
You want more?
Sure.
No, you had enough of me tonight.
All right. Never.
That's not true, Jim.
What?
Go ahead and show us what you
Show us.
got.
Yeah, show us some more.
I'd like to see it.
Keep going, Jim.
Besides, you're saving me a lot of trouble. I'm going up to the shop to get my stuff and you're showing. I don't go out there.
No.
Wonderful. Show it. That's over here.
Do some other stuff.
That's what the
I'll see
evening
what
is
else I got here.
dedicated to.
I'll see what else I got on here. Oh, I don't know. I got, here's,
You know what would be great is to get the instructions for that sled and send them in and post them on our webpage so people can make that sled. That's a fantastic little sled you made.
well, thank you. I could, oh Lord, I'm looking at some of the other stuff I got here, but I've got some of that stuff I could probably send in.
Yeah, send it to David, and if he needs more
Absolutely,
information,
please
he'll
do.
get back to you.
Let me see if I can do. This is a sled I use for a bandsaw. If I could only have. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a 90-degree sled. If I could only have one tool in my shop, it'd be a bandsaw, hands down. The fence on a bandsaw is a pain in the neck. It can be set, you can use it, but this is a 90-degree sled. This is made out of plywood. I have no idea what order these in. I should, anyway, by doing this, I can hold anything I want at 90 degrees. A bandsaw fence will cut a slab a certain thickness, but if you want to cut an S shape or you want to cut corner to corner or something, you can't do that with a bandsaw fence. This, you can cut anything you want. And once you've done it for a while, you don't use it at all. You just put a line on the top of the board, whatever you want, a straight piece or whatever, and cut it. I start the cut here with it. I use hand screws. I always use wooden clamps around a blade. When I get to the other end, I stop the saw, take the clamp off, put it on the other end, and finish the cut.
Does that compress things around your blade at all? Having it on the cut part?
It does. I suppose it does. But this is so close to the cut and this is so far away that it doesn't do it usually.
I see. Okay.
I know I'm just showing these. I haven't got these in any order, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to keep your fingers away from the blade.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you're cutting something like that, your hand's too close to it. If you're just holding the piece by yourself, that's a great idea.
Here it is, just cutting a straight piece in half. So I cut 10 by 10 pieces and I cut them corner to corner. I don't show that, but here's when it's almost done. If I do have trouble with pinching, sometimes on pine or some of the softwood, it will pinch. I stick a shim in back here and then clamp it.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. That's a way around that. Okay, great.
Here's this is absolutely useless. This is for show, okay? There's absolutely no reason you would do this. This is just show. But anyway, you draw an S shape on there and you actually get done, you can take it apart. You can't do that with a bandsaw fence.
Yeah, I like that. The 90 degrees, you keep that constant. And
Yep.
that's one of the problems I've had, that I can't keep that 90 degrees constant. I like that idea.
Well, and when you take this a step further, if you wanted to cut this from this corner to this corner, you can clamp it on here, set the table at that angle and cut it at that. You could cut this whole thing at a different angle, a specific angle. So it just works. I just love it. I have tools you've never seen. I have a lot of them. Here's, let me see what I'm looking at here. Okay. This is making, I'm going to make a bowl out of this. And I take these are 10 by 10, I think, or 12 by 12, but these are all different sheets that I have cut up on the bandsaw and then run through my sander. I glue them all together and then I cut this corner to corner. When you cut this corner to corner, a bandsaw cut's not a good glue joint. But this side here and the other side are good glue joints. So when you take those, you put them together and glue them together, you've got stripes going diagonally through the whole thing.
Oh, cool.
Okay? I use this on all kinds of stuff. And here's how it's done. I set it on end. Oh, this blade I got by accident. I got to the store. They said they had these, I think it's 3/4, 3-tooth blades. When I got there, they didn't have any. And the guy says, all we got is a 3-2 blade, which I'd never heard of. That's 3 teeth for 1 inch, 2 teeth for 1 inch. Oh man, does it work? I'm glad. It costs twice as much, okay? It's $50 or something. But anyway, here's how I start to cut. That's coming in at one corner. And then I go to the other side, that's coming up the other corner. And that gives you this cut, this corner to corner cut.
That's pretty cool.
I do this on pen blanks, on table legs. If you do this on a table leg, you can make 4 table legs that exactly match. They're dead on perfect. And the only problem is when you look at the table from the side, everybody on this earth says those legs are crooked. And it has had a framing square on it hundreds of times, I swear. But you would swear those legs are crooked, but they're not. Anyway, I'll end up turning a bowl blank out of this. Oh, another thing. A good tip I just learned. I'm going to turn a round bowl out of this so the corners are going to get cut off. When these things are in the flat, they float all over the place. You know that. So I drill a hole through this corner and this corner, big enough for a spike. And before I put glue on there, I drill the holes, then I put glue on there, stick a spike through there, and you can clamp it up and they don't float anywhere.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You keep it from sliding.
I learned the hard way, I'll tell you, man, I'll tell you, that saved me.
Makes me feel ashamed I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't learn.
I don't know what else I got. Let me see what else I got on here. Okay, I show a flat sled. I won't show too many more of these things. I have to get this open. Where'd you guys go?
Okay, while you're looking it up, Jim, I got to share. Michelle said when you're working with resin or other products requiring nitrile gloves, double them up. And if you destroy the outside glove, just slip it off and put a new one on top of it. You don't have a problem with sweaty hands, and you don't have a problem getting a new one on. And that's a good idea. Thank you, Michelle. All right, what do you have there?
All right. This is a bandsaw sled. A lot of times I want to cut little pieces. This is a piece of, I think it's 1/8 inch masonite with a couple of runners on it. This thing's old. And on the end, it's a stop block. On the end of my saw is a stop block. So you cannot cut this sled in half, no matter what you do. You see the stop block here and the stop block here. There's a ruler on the top of here. There's a thumb screw on the end of here. This is a piece of poplar or something. But if you cut in pen blanks, like 2-inch pieces or something, you can put them in here and you can cut them all day and cut them to the right length. This is what it looks like. You can tell this is old. It's pretty well, I should make a new one. But these are pen blank marks here. If you want to cut 1-inch pieces or 2-inch pieces, it just works great.
The stop block is a little simpler. I made one I saw in Wood Magazine that had an adjustable stop on the that was on the side closest to us here, and it stopped on the edge of the table, and it was adjustable. But I like the one you have. It seems to be fair. This is one simple rig.
This fits on all kinds of things. It works good on angles. It really works nice. Let me see what else I got. You sure you haven't had enough?
Matt, have we had enough?
I've not had enough. I've got 3 bandsaw jigs myself, and I'm learning stuff by the bucket load here. So
here's one you'll love. You'll like.
Here I am, Jim.
Yeah, I should have put these all. I never dreamt you'd want to see all these.
Actually, one of the things that I've learned also is that simplifying the bandsaw jigs is really helpful, because I have some complicated ones and I use the simple ones a lot more.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Every now and then, this is not in order. Let me go backwards here or something, figure out what, this is what it looks like. There's a couple of magnets in the bottom of this. I do drill a few holes in my tabletop once in a while. This has got a hole just to register this thing. This is making a bread knife. Do you ever make something with a handle on it? You can't cut it on your bandsaw?
Oh, yeah.
This thing is nothing but a spacer, and I'm cutting this out. This raises it up. So you can cut on here all day with, there you can see the,
Okay, first,
Yeah.
a wood bread knife will cut bread.
ooh, it works great. No, I buy the replacement blades out of bread making machines. They probably make at least 150 or 200 of these a year.
Well, so you're inserting a blade inside the wood somehow? I
put
gotta
a-
see these
Yeah, I
too.
put a blade on the end of it. But, yeah. Oh my God, is it sharp? Oh, I get cut looking at it. In fact, I made a guard. I put the guard on the blade before I screw it on a knife because otherwise I get cut. Anyway, these are turned. I could show a little bit of that. I cut the other end off. When this end is square on here, that's one center, and the other center is on my knife handle here. And I turn the whole handle to this, and then cut it out. But anyway, this is that's what that thing looks like. And when you put it on your saw, it looks like this. You don't have holes through this. Sometimes they go a little nuts with these things. But there's holes through this just so the saw doesn't go down through. But it's got a cut in the back of here. You just slip that over the back of the blade and drop this through the hole in the table. And you've got a riser block. You can cut things with handles. You can make spoons and knives and all kinds of stuff with it.
That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got a
Good idea.
request, Jim. Do you have a picture of your completed bread knife?
I do, but I wish I could show you.
That's all right. I don't want to interrupt your stream of
Yeah,
consciousness.
You can see there's a handy box on the back of here on the saw. That box. Inside the saw, I've mounted a relay. So when I turn the saw on, it turns 110 volt circuit on, and my light's plugged into that. So as soon as I turn the saw on, my light comes on or anything else I want. Anyway, I'll stop the screen share here.
Hey, Jim,
Yeah.
you know that piece of pine that you cut that was like this? You know, this is what I used that for.
Wait, I can't see. I'm on a
All right,
different.
hold on, Sue. I'm gonna
Sorry.
link you in here. Gotta go find Sue. I'm gonna add a spotlight now.
There you go, Jim. When I cut some of those boards like you
Yeah.
did with the squirrelies, and I made a bunch of these one year,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's a form, and I glued up veneer and put clocks in them and gave them away for Christmas one year. So
How neat.
so when you're talking about doing the curves, you can use those as forms for bending wood.
So,
Oh yeah.
Sue, you were
Oh.
talking about using it as a form. Are you referring to steam bending the wood?
Oh no, you didn't have to steam bend these. You wet them the day before, clamp them up in the wood, and the next day when it's dry, you separate the pieces of wood and just put in wood glue.
That's
Very
awesome.
sparingly, and then put it back in the frame, glue it up, and after it's glued up, you take your hole and there's a metal spike you can see here, and it comes out and it actually cradles it there. And I don't know if there's 5 layers there. So
Well,
yeah,
Sue, with this jig, you can cut those out of a flat piece of wood. You don't have to glue up. You don't have to glue up anything. You can cut these out of a 3/4. You can cut that out of a 1.5 inch piece of wood.
well, that's true. That's true with that jig. But at the time,
Yeah.
I was playing with veneer.
And once you've cut one, you have a template for 2.
But that's right. This is, well, you've all seen these, I think, for cutting round stuff.
That's the safest way to cut around.
Yeah.
We've all held a dowel, pushing it through a bandsaw, and lost our fingerprints.
No. Anyway, I cut all kinds of things on this. This is a wine bottle that didn't work, wooden wine bottle. You can also cut radiuses, you know, mark the radius and cut a radius on the end of it. It's not just for cutting logs off. I use that sometimes. Sometimes I cut the other way to put a crown on it or put a V in it to make it fit something else. I use this a lot. I didn't show, like I say, I don't have these. You can see in here, there's 1-inch marks, so I can also cut things off roughly to length. It's not precision, but anyway.
That's pretty good. I like that one.